Good evening. Sorry, literally as I went live. Actually, that is in the frame. Hold on a sec. Just trying to make sure my laundry there was over the heater. Yeah, right as I was about to unmute, I saw an article pop across, I think it was Discord, saying that it looks like Square Enix won't be getting into NFTs. Can't imagine why. So weird. So yeah, that's good. That's great. Anyway, 6.15 dropped. And it has some of the most important quest lines. That must be done immediately, because Tataru is the best, and I'll fight anyone who says otherwise. I don't actually know how... I don't actually know how much there is to the Tataru and, Omega quest lines. I guess I'll find out. But, actually, is she gonna be here or in... No, she, in 6.1 we saw her in, Mordona. Of course she'd be there. Yeah, so I don't know, like, how much of a stream there really is to this. Who knows, like, I could be done with both of them in an hour and a half, in which case I'll probably switch over to leveling Samurai again. Or, sorry, going through the, Samurai job quests. So I'll kind of play it by ear a bit to see what happens, but... I wasn't gonna not do this, and I feel like I'm gonna regret... I feel like I would regret, like, putting it off for a night until I'm doing a longer stream. Mostly because... Huh? Wait, what? Okay, hold up. Did I miss where this starts? It might actually start in Charlene, and I didn't realize. Hold up. 14 news, patch notes. Oh no, it is in Old Charlene first. Oh. Well. I guess I wasn't looking hard enough. Small business, big dreams, yeah. Did I just, like, completely miss that in the list of quests that are here? Yeah. Yeah, I did. Oh my god, I even walked, like, close enough to see that people were gathering around that NPC, but not... Oh, I'm an idiot. Whoa. Small business, big dreams. Medjina, seems inordinately eager to speak with you. Aldine Felspark, welcome, welcome. I am Medjina, assistant shopkeeper and apprentice seamstress here at Tataru's boutique. I doubt you remember my face, as I am merely one of many who owe you our lives. But you will always have my gratitude for saving me that day on the Eblin Rhyme. Ugh, words. No one has helped this person yet. You are too kind. And while I hate to ask aught more of you, please say that you're here to assist in Mr. Tataru's new endeavor. What would that be? Not yet, but he soon shall be. Yeah. Whatever would we do without our without your penchant for turning up precisely when you're needed, eh? Now, to make the long long story of our solvency short, we've secured the resources to produce new designs I developed in cooperation with guilds near and far, and in sufficient quantity to meet rising demand. We shan't rest on our laurels, however. To serve passing adventurers and the occasional intrepid Charlian is all well and good, but we're hardly taking the world by storm. No. Much like yourself, we must look toward new horizons. The Scions proved that cooperation on a star-wide scale is possible, and would be fools not to capitalize on that to build the grandest trade network in the history of Hydaelyn. All for the greater good, of course. I mean, you're absolutely right. Question. That kind of capital could only come from the monetarists, right? Right? Oh god, if Tataru and Nanamo get in on this so Nanamo can, like, strong-arm the monetarists into this, I would be all for that. Yes, this is a wonderful opportunity to bring people together. I often think back to that incredible moment when the Garlean army came to our rescue. Perhaps our efforts too will one day lead to a miracle like that which took place on the Eblon Rime. I have no doubt that they shall, but we mustn't expect such alliances to form themselves. We must be proactive, and who better to woo our future partners in commerce than our current #1 customer, you? Our erstwhile comrades in arms know that when it comes to good equipment and better ideas, few have such keen eyes as our adventurer extraordinaire. Even should they hesitate at first, I'm certain you can convince them using the samples I prepared. Tataru, I'm literally wearing them already. I see that. Well, I see that my mind is made up. If you'll cover my aetheryte expenses. But of course, with your assistance, we'll have both coin and goodwill flowing in no time. Everything is falling into place. Where shall we send Aldine first? Don't you worry, I have it all planned out. First, Limsa Laminsa. Sickard has the bloody executioners working harder than ever, so he is sure to appreciate any extra supplies. Next, Gridania. The Seed Seers are a source of trusted authority and insight into the Shroud, so we'd not go amiss in cultivating the investment of, say, Arun Senna. His insular station has likely given him little opportunity for dealings outside Gridania in the past, so you want to leverage that Ilsabardian contingent camaraderie to assure him of the value of our venture. As for Uldar, I feel confident in pinning our hopes on Pippin. He's always been a stalwart ally, and it goes without saying that he has more than a little sway in the Sultanate. Why not go directly to Nanamo, though? Between his involvement with the Immortal Flames, the Syndicate, and the Colosseum, he's bound to find a use for quality accoutrement. With that out of the way, Magina, would you do the honors? What? Oh. Never let it be said that Tataru is stingy with her samples. Now, if you make your way to Limsa and climb aboard the Astalicia, I'm certain someone will point you in Sickard's direction. I have my own avenues of inquiry to attend to, but I'll check in periodically to see how your journey is coming along. Let's get to it. I wonder if it's going to be a quest a patch. Or, like, a place a patch, I guess. Where, like, we basically spend the entire quest of that patch, like, convincing that particular, person. we even get... Oh, no, it is actually docked. I was gonna say, I didn't see it. Okay. I was going to say I didn't see a way, maybe pirates, but we're not uncivilized. I don't know, last time I was here, it was kind of... What are you all laughing at? You had enough? Tell us where you hid the loot, you rotten scrag. Can I, like... No. Dang it. Yeah, I was kind of confused, because walking down the pier, I didn't see any interactables, so I was like, wait, how am I getting on the ship? But it turns out I can just walk. Hashthwab. Or Hasthwab. Hasthwab. God. Aye, I recognize you. What do you want? As long as it's not about another bloody apocalypse, I don't see why not. Wait here. Well, bugger me. Thought we'd seen the last of you for a while. What brings you aboard? Your crew seems busy. No rest for the wicked and all. We're getting so many shipping requests that we've hardly put down anchor since old Charlian. You know, there was a time I thought pirating was the whole world, but being the best of them all meant something. Going to Ilsabard made me see how small my world was compared to the real one. Standing next to the star's finest, I started to wonder what I had to brag about. Then the bloody executioners went and did me proud by bringing in a bigger goddamn haul of adamantite than anyone else in the realm. Between that and the new metalworks we've got going with the kobolds, it seems like the right time for the executioners to change our sails, so to speak. Which is all to say that if you've got wares for promoting, I'd be happy to show them off across the realm and beyond. Is that so? Masterworks from Tataru's boutique, guaranteed by the warrior light himself. Almost seems a waste to wear them, if I could be lining up at the docks for these. Literally, seeing as old Charlian's only accessible by sea. Now, if we got ourselves an exclusive shipping contract. Aye, I see the course clear as day. Now we just need a Manolane on board. What? He's right useless when there's work to be done, but talk's another matter. And he still owes me one for keeping his sorry ass out of trouble. So I'll have to have him put me in touch with a few savvy salesman types on the continent. But what are they? Tell Tataru I look forward to setting sail on this new tide of hers. May the winds of change guide us all right. Oh, guide us alright, not alright. I can words tonight. Aldine, it's me. How goes our little venture thus far? Sickard's all game. Oh, Sickard's eyeing the shipping routes, is he? All according to plan. But our work has only just begun. I'll keep after my own contacts while you work on our room. I hear he's not often in the city, but I don't doubt that Mother Miyun can sniff him out. True, that woman can find anyone. South. God, I need to sort out this inventory. It's gone to shit since I started, not paying attention to it and only doing raid on this character, basically. Why, if it isn't Aldine Fellspark. Struck with a sudden craving for eel pie, were you? Or is it information you fancy? Oh, yes, word of our Seedseer's comings and goings never fails to reach my ears. I'm told that ever since he returned from his foray to Ilsabard, he's been roaming back and forth between our neighboring tribes' settlements and the Lotus Stand. You'll miss him if you make for one or the other, like as not, so I suggest you waylay him at the Blue Badger Gate. Is that the gate just out here? Yes, it is. Oh my god. Wait, I can walk around while this is here? Oh. Huh, interesting. Never actually paid attention to that much. I know sometimes when you're talking to a character you get locked in place, like, vision-wise, but I didn't think that, like, if that wasn't present that you might be able to walk around. I've been playing this game for like a year and a half. Ah. Perfect. Curious. This is cute. Might I ask why you're loitering at the gates, Aldine? With such an enormous sack. I admit you've piqued my interest. To integrate the tradition and ingenuity of guilds throughout Eorzea in such a fashion is no small feat. As it happens, I'm of the mind to do something similar myself. I could not blame you, should you doubt my understanding of such endeavors. Absent a special dispatch like that which the Elder Seedseer ordered for Ilsabard, it is vanishingly rare for one of my station to leave the Shroud. You are doubtless aware that historically Gridania has placed a piece of the Twelveswood and our covenant with the elements above all else, often to the detriment of our relationship with other peoples. Yet, much as we are one with the Shroud, are we not also one with? Are we not also part of the Star? Our ventures in Garlemald may plain the strength of a world united. This attire you carry demonstrates much the same truth. Ah, but perhaps you assumed you needed to talk me around to the idea. If so, I apologize for the disappointment. If 'tis any comfort, I'm nearly as surprised as myself. No longer am I content to hear the words of the elements alone. I wish to know the voices of men. Though our time in Garlemald has shown me that my ability to listen is average at best. These horns may mark me gifted in the Twelveswood, but beyond, they inspire neither fear nor awe. I've been mistaken several times for Zayla, and many may as well be one for all the difference my status as Seedseer makes to those who want for succor. Yet 'twas this selfsame insignificance that allowed me, for the first time in my life, to truly feel part of a greater whole. I'm but one life among myriads upon this star. I dare say I should behave accordingly. Just got into work, put Asmongold video on YouTube up. Then I was like, I wonder if anyone was on Twitch right now. Hell yeah. You know I am very inconsistently. How you doing, Husky? With luck, my elder sister shall agree. Tell Mistress Tataru that her gift is accepted with gratitude, and she ought to hear from us soon. Easy done. Guess who? Did you speak with Arun yet? That sounds promising. I'm beginning to understand what makes our Seed Seer friend tick. But we can discuss that later. You need to catch Pippin ere his duties take him from Uldar once more. I believe he spends much of his time at the Colosseum, so perhaps you should pay a visit to the Gold Court. I'll be awaiting your full report at the boutique. Fucking exhausted, woke up like 2 hours ago in a sweat for no reason. Ugh. Gross. Despite, like, well, I guess, like, a few times I actually got sick. Despite, like, I feel like I haven't woken up in a sweat in a long time. Even during, like, Australian summer, to some degree, as well. Where in the F am I going? The Gold Court. Might as well go there. Same, definitely new for me. Ugh. Hope you're all good. What's up? I see. Marshal Tarapin is currently engaged in another meeting, but I shall tell him that Aldean awaits his convenience. Thanks, bud. Knowing my luck, I'm dying. Ah, don't say that. You're probably... Well, down here, it's winter, so, like, people getting sick is... Yeah, of course, but... My apologies for keeping you waiting. I did not expect you here this evening. Is declaring my excitement about the Beast Tribe EXP spoilers? If you're talking about experience points and just saying, yay, experience points, no. If you're talking about experiences in the quest line, then yes. Don't. I wish it was winter. I wish it was summer. Tataru is offering quality material, is she? I can hardly say no to that. Fits almost too perfectly with my plans for the flames. I've long striven for mastery of the blade. I required the trials of Ilsabard, however, to see how to truly see Tizona for what it is. Fire that warms the coldest night. A spark that ignites a blaze of hope. Most of all, an unbreakable testament to Father's faith in me. More ally than tool, it is a treasure beyond price. Does every soldier of the immortal flames not deserve allies such as this? Arms and armor to remind them of what they fight to protect? To help them stand when they might otherwise fall? Indeed, works made possible only through the ingenuity and dedication of allies across the star may be the sort of inspiring armaments we need. I anticipate that I'll be sending along an order for custom equipment ere long. In the meantime, would you mind if I use these samples for a few trials here at the Colosseum? You can use them for whatever you want, Pippin. My thanks. We shall put them to use immediately. 850k a pop? Oh! Oh! Oh, Lord. As a child of Uldar, however, naught strikes fear into my heart like the prospect of receiving valuable goods for free. I must insist you accept something in return. Okay. Like what? I had been meaning to give that necklace to Tataru. Its poor condition aside, she might rather have it, than not. Huh? I have spoken with Tataru at some length about our pasts, you understand. In many ways, we are quite similar. As you may recall, her family was bankrupted when she was very young, consequence of her father's business failing. They were forced to put all their wealth toward paying off his debts, and then some. One asset they reluctantly parted with was a necklace treasured by her mother. Oh my god. Which Tataru has long searched to no avail. Strangely enough, I recently discovered jewellery of the same very description amidst a store of neglected Colosseum prizes. Assuming it is the same piece, I should like to see it returned to her. Significantly worse off for having changed hands, though, and the only sapphire centerpiece remains unlost and undamaged. Oh, and only the sapphire centerpiece. She may appreciate the sentiment nevertheless, but it's difficult to say. What do you think? The memories it holds for her aren't lost or damaged. Could it be repaired or perhaps remade? I mean, the memories it holds so aren't lost or damaged. True enough. Though if it's to be a gift, I would prefer to at least clean it up a bit. In that case, I had considered asking the Goldsmiths Guild, but you ought to be able to turn the necklace into a piece that Tataru would wear, if not precisely what she remembers. I imagine you will have the opportunity to pick up gems and other suitable materials on your travels. From there, it is merely a matter of unifying the pieces. Are you willing? Hell yeah. Oh, is this going to be like the actual, like, quest bits of this? I wonder? Then I'll have the sapphire removed from its setting and sent to the boutique with all haste. Doubt even Tataru would dare open a private package addressed to you. That's smart. Best of luck in finding matching materials. And in your mercantile endeavors, of course. May the traders guide you to fortune fair. Are we gonna... Oh my god. That's gonna be this quest line, isn't it? Is gonna be going around and secretly, like, putting back together this necklace. Or, like, creating a new gift out of it for her. Oh, god damn it. This quest is gonna make me fucking cry. I thought this was gonna be Tataru, like, expanding her network across the world, but no. No. You've returned. With your bag all the light of her having given away our samples, I hope. Speaking of which, a parcel from one Pippin Tarupin arrived not bells ago, addressed to you. Could it be that our newfound partnerships are already bearing fruit? Fuck, am I gonna say what that is? Mother's necklace? Why, that's a wonderful idea. Please, allow me to assist. I swear I won't breathe a word of this to Mistress Tataru. Oh, god damn it. I do wonder what parts you will need. Do you know what style of Mistress Tataru prefers? If this necklace is to be a keepsake, why not focus on that? Huh? Oh. Ah! Apologies, I could not help but overhear. That's quite alright, but do please keep your voice down. What was it you were saying? It simply occurred to me that since you were gifted the sapphire so readily, our other partners in this endeavor may wish to offer up something for Mistress Tataru as well. With such gifts, you could turn the necklace into a memento of not just her past and its trials, but her present successes as well. That's perfect. If our plans for the boutique proceed apace, we should soon have more than enough tokens from friends across the seas. What do you think, Aldine? Well, well, are you waiting for little old me? Mr. Tataru, we were, just discussing the delivery of the samples. Yes. Good to hear. How fares dear Pippin? He's gonna use them in the Colosseum immediately. I knew he would come through. Though I admit that I wasn't expecting to outfit a whole host of immortal flames quite so soon. I suppose it goes to show that even the most hardened warriors can always learn a thing or two. Sicard and Nerun have changed as well. If your tales are any indication. I imagine their personal growth bodes well for that of our network. Thank you for checking up on them. We must sort through our current commissions before deciding who to approach next, but I know I can count on you to be ready when we are. This wasn't a quest line, this was just an advertisement for future tiers. Fuck. God. Now. Uh-oh. Wait, wasn't there another... I swear there was another quest in this list that was 90. 10.9, 14.3. 10.9... 14? 14.3. Oh yeah, no, there it is. Weird, why did that not... Does that show, like, the quests closest to you? Huh. Strange. Because I swear that this isn't a quest line, this is an adventure for future tiers. I mean, yes. That's weird, I still don't see it in this list. Hold up. Weird. Alright. A heartless hypothesis. The bespectacled technician is enjoying the refreshing harbor breeze. Oh, it's blown the cobwebs away. Time to return to work. Oh, goodness me, look who it is. How incredibly serendipitous that I would run into you of all people. I was part of the team which designed the Ragnarok, you see, and we've recently begun the process of combing through the vessel's flight log data. The primary objective of your journey to Ultimate Thule was to save our star and countless others, of course, but it also provided us with an invaluable trove of information, records of places and events we could only dream of. Your safe return gave us much to be thankful for. As it so happens, one of the things we pulled from the log was a transmission of unknown origin, something the ship must have intercepted during its flight. We believe it to be an audio message, but even our most talented linguists have been unable to decipher the language. For a while there, it seemed we must accept defeat, but today may be the day that we finally solve the mystery. If you were so inclined, would you care to come along to the Thormazine? It seems fitting to have one of the Ragnarok's original passengers present to hear history being made. Sure. Is that the fucking 90 Bard fit? Because fuck me, that looks amazing. Brioso... What does that say? Shepherd. That sounds like it. See, hold on. Oh no, that stuff's right. Yeah. That's locked for, dying for other reasons. Oh, actually, no, that might be locked for dying... No, it wouldn't be the base piece that's showing that. It would be the piece that is, glammed over it. That makes sense. I know how the video game works. I didn't just learn that you could walk around talking to certain NPCs. Drop frames? What? Huh. Oh, there you are. Nuts D's. You're a bit late, bud. Ah, there you are. This is where to meet the engineers from Garland Ironworks, who, I'm told, potentially hold the key to unlocking our mystery transmission. Ah, that's where Omega and Alpha come into this. They should be along at any moment. Sorry we're late. We had some trouble finding the right... Gods, is that you, Aldine? Now, is that Sid or... No, yeah, Biggs, of course. Yes, the man himself. I ran into him at the harbour, and thought if anyone deserved to hear the message, this message deciphered, it was Aldine Fellspark. No argument here, but bugger me if you don't have a knack for being in the right place at the right time. This actually has more to do with you than you might think, so please, do stick around. Shall we pick up from where we left off then? As I was saying, we think this transmission the Ragnarok intercepted is a message of some kind, albeit in a language entirely alien to our ears. Alien being the operative word here. Considering we received the message out in the great expanse, its origin was likely some distant star. Unfortunately, our list of off-world allies is presently rather short. Thus, we were resigned to the fact that that the meaning behind the message would remain beyond our understanding. One of my colleagues, however, refuses to give up. She remembered the Ironworks engineers who had been so helpful in the construction of the Ragnarok and turned to them for insight into our seemingly impossible problem. Do you know what Wedge said when he heard what was going on? We should have Omega listen to it. I bet it can tell us what the message means. Uh-huh. Not the Omega you beat in the Rift, of course. He's talking about that toy that trundles around with Alpha, the little model we made. We originally designed it to follow a chosen target and not much else, but I've seen it act in ways that... well, it's like it has a mind of its own. And I got to thinking about those documents your lot sent the Chief. Full report on the final days. In the part about Omega's civilization, it said their people discovered how to convert the mind into data and store it outside the body. Timing being what it was, I wondered if Omega didn't somehow transfer its consciousness into our model right before you put an end to the real one. Huh. So, in an effort to get to the bottom of that, as well as take a crack at this indecipherable message, we decided to make some modifications. With help from Labyrinthos technicians, we've upgraded our toy Omega with a fully functional vocalization module. We played the transmission for Omega, and I think it's ready to share. Hello? Are you in there, Omega? Affirmative. If by Omega you are referring to my consciousness, rather than my entire former chassis, existing inside this considerably smaller frame. Prediction. You will formulate several misconceptions. These I shall preemptively dismiss based on the following facts. 1. Vocalization module aside, this chassis remains unmodified from the design constructed by the engineers Biggs and Wedge. I evaluate its combat capabilities to be on par with a mortal infant. 2. The mechanism which allowed me to perform an emergency transfer of my consciousness was installed in my previous body. With the destruction of that body, I am rendered incapable of replicating such a feat. Should this current material form be destroyed or cease to function, all cognitive awareness or presence I possess will also be lost. Conclusion. I present no threat to you or your star, nor do my projections indicate the necessity to inflict harm. In the fraction of a moment before my annihilation in the rift, I re-examined my directives. If I am to fulfill my purpose as an evolving construct, then I must continue my journey for improvement for as long as I exist. I must acquire this heart of yours, this strength of soul. Well, there you have it. And it's not wrong about its combat capabilities. It'd be more likely to damage itself than the thing it was trying to attack. But let's not forget the reason we brought you here in the first place. What about the transmission they played for you? Could you recognize the language? Affirmative. It was transmitted in Pan-Galactic Basic. There's a Pan-Galactic language? Okay. A common language in comparatively extensive usage throughout the worlds we have conquered. Oh, okay, so used across worlds, Omegas. Okay, that's a bit more... That's a bit more, that has less implications than the implication that there was a pan-galactic language outside of fucking Eorzea. Jesus. His 1920s jazz confirmed. Which means you can finally tell us what the message said. That is a language you understand, yes? I understand it perfectly. I am fluent in over 6 million distinct dialectical codings. Boop. My cooperation in this matter, however, is conditional. Elaboration. Your Chief Sid utilizes the floor as part of his unorthodox filing system, which allowed me to scan the report on the final days. I am aware that my home star, the one you call Alphatron, was obliterated in the aftermath of Sir and Meteon's meeting. The existence of Dynamis has not previously factored into my projections, but I now comprehend the concept, in theory. What fails to compute is why the Omicrons were not immune to its effects. Dynamis should have no influence on a race which possesses no heart. Huh. And yet, Sir expressed to Meteon a desire to cease existing. Illogical. I must pursue this anomaly further, until the full equation becomes clear to me. I must analyze all the elements of the final days, and deepen my understanding of the heart's intangible properties. To expedite this process, I require an external interpretation of those sections of the report which continue to produce errors in my calculations. I request the assistance of Aldine Felspark. As one who experienced the ravages of ultimate despair on multiple fronts and displayed immeasurable heart in engineering my defeat, he is the optimal choice to fulfill this role. So we either agree to your conditions, or you tell us nothing. Sorry to put you on the spot like this, Aldine. If you have the time and the patience to spare, we'd all be grateful if you could humor the toy's demands. Alpha's sleeping. Is Alpha dozed off? I suppose the subject was a bit technical. Boop. Rouse yourself, Alpha. You must listen to and consider these matters, even as I must. Why don't you make a trip of it? You know, actually visit the places that has the, things Omega wants to ask about. It'll make explaining stuff easier, for one, and also, help keep Alpha awake and alert. Excuse me. Whoa. I see you have chosen the mutually beneficial option. Logical. Setting aside the matter of Sir, there are 3 elements of the report on which I desire clarification. The first of these concerns the progression of the final days in Raz at Heart. I recognize no pattern in those who succumbed to the transformation, and those who did not. That's a bit of a trick if you wanted to chat with the locals. How about we lend you an airship? We do not require such outmoded technology. Aldine's transportation spell is the most efficient option for long-distance travel. This chassis is our model, essentially a toy, and Alpha, despite his organic composition, is indistinguishable from a stuffed doll. Conclusion: we qualify as material possessions. Pick us up and you can teleport the three of us to our destination. Fuck yeah. Wait, we're not going to teleport there now, are we? Oh, fuck me. I wanted to talk to Biggs and Wedge before... So one time the game is helpful and teleports me around is the one time I don't want it to. Now, nothing to say. Boop. Sensors indicate we have arrived in Raz at Heart. Objective: identify factors for resistance to involuntary transformation. Hypothesis: unaltered survivors of the final days will display significant strength of heart. Confirming this theory will require the cooperation of live subjects. Where is the ward designated for residential habitation? You motherfucker. Check your FB events? Oh god, I haven't logged onto Facebook in fucking forever. Well, I say forever, it's been like probably a week and a half or something. Oh. Okay. I will look at that after stream then. Also, fuck you. Understood. Karma set as our sub-destination. Please take the lead and select the subjects we are to interview. Okay. Omega and Alpha are now accompanying you. Keep them at your side in order to... yeah, you can leave your quest companions behind by entering a different area or speaking with them and selecting the option to part ways. If you wish to have your companions join you again, return and speak with the thing. So wait, did they include the improvement where I can actually use the Aetheryte to jump around? Actually, no, I shouldn't, because they'll have shit to say as we go along, no doubt. Discuss the stairs with Alpha. Alpha chirps enthusiastically, apparently unfazed by the prospect of climbing the stairs. Warning. Please avoid stairs where possible. My projections indicate high-risk probability of accidental slippage, leading to catastrophic structural damage. Steeped inclines also increase my energy consumption by 63%. In mortal terms, they tire me out. Taking into account the difference in individual limb length, the design is inherently flawed. A convenient step height for one is an exhausting trial for another. Were I to oversee the civic design... Oh my god, Omega. Okay. We get it. The stairs are shit. You don't need to say this much. Were I to oversee the civic design of this settlement, I would construct a sloped conveyor belt which enabled automatic traversal. Zero personal energy expenditure. Okay, well you're not breaking yet, so... Also, are we that far removed from the final days that people wouldn't be traumatized by thinking about this again? I wonder if that's... that might honestly be part of this thing, where Omega's like, no, tell us about it, and they're like, well, no, it's traumatizing, and he's like, oh, and they're like, what? Fuck do you mean? Wait, weren't you just... Wasn't there an NPC just back here named Astra as well? Oh no, they're wearing something different. Maybe it just started with A? Oh yeah, it just started with A. Eh. Don't worry, I'm a dummy. Melancholy man. Hmm? Are you a traveler? Please, if you have a moment, I could use an outsider's perspective. See, I was one of those who sought to escape the madness plaguing the world by fleeing to the moon. Not that we ever went, in the end. So here I am, recently returned from Shahian. Except now things are strained between my sister and I, since she chose to stay and I chose to leave. I asked her to help me find work. She suggests I look somewhere that isn't Thavnir. As if I wanted to abandon my home. Makes me so angry. Dude, your point is unclear. You elected to relocate to the star satellite, thus your relative now perceives you in a negative light. Your sibling's judgment is in error. Based on the information made available to Harnish citizens, your decision to withdraw to the moon was both logical and correct. Conversely, the decision to remain in Razat Han, despite the low probability of survival, defies explanation. Perhaps her reasoning pathways are faulty. That's right. I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but I'm right, aren't I? Oh, so I'd like to think. The problem is, I understand why my sister feels this way. I almost decided against going myself. Even then, I wasn't sure that leaving behind everything I loved was the right choice. And with the way it all turned out, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do the accent. It's been a while since I've heard it. Oh, hello again. You're the one who came to ask me questions about Kazal. I'm glad to see you looking well after all that unpleasantness. I remember that the burning skies and hearing the screams, but truth be told, I'm still confused as to what actually happened. I only know it wasn't unusual for entire families to go missing. Many of my neighbors' houses lie empty even now. Kalzal's place is one of them. He had no close relatives to speak of, and I heard that it was members of the consortium who came to remove his belongings. What a terrible thing to have to do. Boop. Terrible. Kalzal's passing was recorded in the report. Clearing out his domicile and readying it for new habitation seems an appropriate relocation of resources. Dear me, what a clever little contraption. But of course, I'm not against making use of his quarters. That would be wasteful. It's simply that Kalzal was such a vigorous person. All that passion, all those dreams, suddenly gone. I feel that same sorrow for everyone who was lost. Seeing the remnants of these vibrant lives packed away in boxes. That is what I mean by terrible. Why do I feel we're gonna just have a round of Omega going, wow, humans are fucking stupid. Hey, don't I know you? Yes, after the beasts were taken care of, you told me to join everyone in the square. Oh, thanks to you, I was there when Vitra gave his speech. And I found out who Varshan really was. It's a shame we don't get to play like we used to, but Mama says Vitra has been busy putting the city back in order. Maybe I can work for him one day, when I'm a grown man. Vitra, Midgard Sorma's offspring, yes? And this child wishes to put himself at the worm's command that he might make his own contribution to society. Pattern emerges. I predict that the Harnish survivors are those who had ingested Vitra's blood and become his draconic minions. Though dragons were no match for our civilization's might, their combat capabilities are not to be underestimated. It is unlikely they would experience emotions of dread or uncertainty, as exhibited by lesser beings in times of undue stress. Oh, wow, you are just completely and utterly detached from all emotion, aren't you? Dragons? I'm not a dragon. I never ingested anyone's blood either. Ew. You are not of Vitra's brood, so you possess no hidden means to fight off the beasts, or to fear them. You were frightened? Yes, I was frightened. I just hid and hoped they wouldn't find me. At least until he told me it was safe to come out. Aldine, I require a moment to process this input. Let us move apart and discuss our findings. Shit's whack. No, Azema. Fuck. Processing data. Evaluating hypothesis against accumulated evidence. I offered an optimal analysis of each subject's testimony, yet each time their responses conflicted with my assessment. Without identifying the root cause of this conflict, I will be unable to properly define what constitutes strength of heart. Perhaps the heart you seek lies in the conflict itself. Perhaps we should continue the questioning. Perhaps this matter is beyond you. Yeah. Conflict itself. Kid is weird. An interesting observation. It is possible my base criteria is in error. In which case, it is imperative that I continue this learning process and repair any fundamental misconceptions. Next, I wish to interact with an individual who endured similar circumstances to Karzal prior to his transformation. Are you acquainted with any local merchants who had dealings with him? I know plenty. I already did this bit. Jinabaha of Ruveda Fibers. Acknowledge. Sub-destination set. Kind of like the idea of a correct, douchey, overly sassy robot learning about humanity. Yeah. Well, it's not even sass. Like, they're not doing it out of like a... well, you should have done this. It's like, what do you... No, you should have done this. This is optimal. This is logical. Like, there's no sass there, but, like, I get what you mean. Yes, there is another talky bit. Of course there would be. Wait, why would they... Discuss the Hamsa. Alpha looks back and forth between Omega and the Hamsa, showing visible concern. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Halt, Aldine. Do not proceed beyond the fence. In this body, birds of that size present lethal, unthinking threats. They will peck my casing apart, searching for meat that does not exist. Conversely, Alpha can correctly identify my absence of nutritional content. If only he would apply that intelligence towards maintaining a regular feeding schedule. Poor habits adversely affect his morbidity. Or mobility. Oh. Alpha, you need to take care of yourself. I know you're like an illusion made manifest by Omega. Probably doesn't have a traditional digestive tract, but well, look who it is. I must thank you again for your help in moving our textiles. Recovering from these tragic events has been difficult, of course, but with everyone pulling together, we've managed to get things back up and running. Jinabaha, I come with questions related to that tragedy, specifically your survival of the final days. Oh. Although you are similar to Karzal in many respects, he succumbed to the transformation and you did not. Why? What is the critical difference between you and him? What? I'm sure I don't know. Not especially brave or courageous, if that's what you're asking. Perhaps being focused on protecting our workshops kept me from spinning into a panic? Still, I imagine Karzal would have been feeling that same sense of responsibility. Perhaps the weight of it all is what invited his demise? You were of the same mind, resolved to the same purpose. Yet your strength of heart or spirit was not equal. If merely emulating the individual is insufficient, then some other unseen factor must be involved. Not to interrupt these deep philosophical musings, but do you think I could ask you a small favor? What's up? There's a man by the name of Nashvan, who's been helping us out here while he gets back on his feet. I have a feeling he'd benefit from speaking with you. Lead by the eastern exit and you should find him just outside, organizing some new inventory items. Okay. So in here, I carried a box that was this big. Discuss the Thapnarian weave. Alpha puffs out his chest proudly, seeming to imply that his Ironworks uniform is the best attire anyone could wear. Fuck. I'm still dissecting Jinabaha's remarks. You are permitted to indulge his favor. Yeah. The equipment being manufactured here, it is worn to perform specific duties, yes? Conceptually, it seems analogous to our practice of switching frames to better serve our mission objectives. I, for example, did not begin existence with Omega model. It was originally supplied with the standard issue. Oh my god, burps. I was originally supplied with a standard issue Omicron chassis, serial number M017. On this world, the alphanumeric combination would be considered my given name. Such designations are drawn from our nearly infinite register of celestial bodies to avoid the possibility of duplication. Furthermore, the cluster known as M017 is better expressed in your language as the Omega Nebula, the same word I use to introduce myself to your kind. Though you associate Omega with the advanced weapon construct, it is also my name, and I see no reason to change it no matter what frame I inhabit. Yeah, true. Okay. That's all our orders accounted for, and everything looks to be of good quality. Kamala will be pleased. Hi. You were with the Scions. You were there. Yes, I'm sure of it. I'll never forget that day. You and your friends helped us escape when people began changing into beasts. My own son, he was afflicted. Then that huge monstrosity loomed right over him. Oh my god, this is that guy. This is the guy that was saved by Graha in that scene. So, for reference, when the final days reached Razat Han here, we were all in the town square, and a woman basically lost her mind, descended into one of those beasts, and then basically what happens is like a cascade of these things start like being formed from people's bodies. One of them was this guy's son, who was immediately crushed by another monster that had formed. So, this guy watched his son die right before his eyes in a time of the game where being beset by despair would have turned him into a beast. But thankfully, Graha managed to calm him somewhat. So yeah, this guy's been through a lot. I remember my heart turning to ice, freezing in place. The satrap came to my aid, but then he too was gone. Oh yeah, he also watched the ruler of his city try and save him and then get eaten. Graha. Yeah. The memories run together in my mind like flashes from a nightmare. Only the words of your comrade still rang clear. I repeated them over and over like a mantra as I fled for my life. You must run, for their sake and your own. It all seems so surreal, which was probably what saved me from the transformation. The truth of it didn't begin to sink in until the worst of it was over. I have not the words to describe how I felt then. The sorrow, the overwhelming sense of helplessness. I may still be wallowing in misery if not for my old friend, Jinabaha. God, I'm never going to say that name right. I lost my will to work, and he encouraged me with kind words and odd jobs. Now somehow I live again. I am thankful to him, to the courageous Ahewan, and to you. If you see your comrades, please tell them, let them know their efforts were not in vain. Oh God. You said you lost your will to work. This signifies a cessation of efforts to maintain basic life functions, yes? What changed to extract you from that stagnation? An offer of work from Jinabaha should mean little to one without the desire to accept it. Was it some manner of mortal instinct? A primal need to survive and thrive? Instinct? No, it wasn't that. If anything, my instincts were telling me to lay down and welcome an end to the pain. Every day I think of my boy's final moments. I think of how scared he must have been, how it must have hurt, and I want to scream my throat raw. The satrap too still haunts my dreams. I see him being swallowed whole and jolt awake in a cold sweat. But something changed when Jinabaha came to me. I looked up and saw that, even without my son or Ahewan, the world around me continued to turn. And because that fact grieved me so, I knew it fell to me to live on and remember them. Strange, isn't it? What drives me to rise in the morning is the very sorrow which once crippled me. Shut up. What the fuck? I don't get it. What the fuck? What the fuck? Lay down and accept the pain, Omega. Affirmative. Kill process engaged. Well, we all know he can't do that. He'd break himself before he did. Now, I really must return to my work. To lose this job after everything I just said would be poor jest indeed. May the sisters keep you well. Sorrow. The emotion generated by mortals when their ideals fail to materialize. This I observed. Yet when I listened to how Nashvan's sorrow served to rescue him from near-fatal despondency, his logic eludes me. I am incapable of perceiving the full measure of the heart's properties. My best projections failed to predict our subject's responses, and despite their almost equal occupational and mental parameters, Jinabaha and Khazal exhibited different reactions to the dynamis effect. I am no closer to recognizing the pattern for involuntary transformations, and your ephemeral mortal spirits confound me as much, if not more, than they did before. Have you considered that there is no pattern to the people afflicted? The hearts of others were ever shrouded in mystery. Perhaps it's time we move on to the next element you wanted to clarify. Yeah, have you considered that there is no pattern to the people afflicted? Bloop. No pattern. You implied that the transformation was not contingent on individual fortitude, but rather a random contribution of environmental factors. Well, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean there isn't a pattern, but that means the pattern is far more complex than just the emotion involved, right? Such a theory would explain the otherwise conflicting data. Very well. I shall accept this as a provisional conclusion to this part of my investigation. I do, however, expect you to continue supplementing my education of heart-related matters. Shut up! Shut up! There must be a pattern! Shut up! Alright. Goodbye. Omega has selected a new destination. Oh, we're going to Ultimate Thule, aren't we? Our next destination will be Camp Broken Glass. I desire an elaboration on the dealings between the Ilsabard contingent and the citizens of Garlemald. The report described the contingent's purpose as the salvation of the local populace. Furthermore, both factions faced a common enemy in the Telophoroi. Why did they not immediately combine forces to their mutual benefit? This inconsistency requires closer examination. Aldine, initiate teleport. Oh wow, they didn't even do the casting animation, it was just another thing. I kind of want an FF abridged now. Yeah. Final. Oh god, an abridged version of 14 would be so. Oh. Honestly, like, that could probably work. But, like, it'd be a huge undertaking. But also the thing is that, like, the abridging and stuff has really fallen out of favor too, so I don't know how long it would survive to actually really get to the stuff that, like, makes it worthwhile, you know? Teleportation successful. Evaluating immediate environments. A cold weather region by Aetherius standards, but significantly less extreme than a star with ice planet classification. This body should not be unduly impeded. In contrast to Alpha and his uncontrollable shivering, my frame appears highly resilient to low temperatures. Retrieving data. Records indicate that remnants of the contingent force and a number of Imperial citizens yet inhabit this location. We must speak with representatives from both factions and explore their respective attitudes. Boop. Proceed. Oh, hey. Oh, that, no. Someone behind here? Fuck, that almost got me. Aldine, come to see how things are progressing, have you? Is that the guy that gave the thing to Julius? I can't speak for the overall strategy, but communication with the locals has become a damn sight easier since Julius and his soldiers stepped in to help. Oh, we still face our fair share of disgust, of course. Some folk even think we're enslaving minds with our foreign magics. We have Animate to thank for putting that idea in their heads. But all things considered, I'd say we're doing pretty well. Establishing an open dialogue was the first big step. Query. You consider this level of progress acceptable? The reality of your efforts falls far short of the ideal. If your aim is to provide efficient succor to the local populace, then absorbing their number into your command structure would be the optimal path. Oh, I wouldn't want to go that far. We're not looking to take over their nation. If we're to do this the right way, we need to recognize and respect each other's way of life. So while it may not be the easiest solution, I agree the contingent's slow and steady approach. I'm just happy we're saving lives. Retrieving data. Reallocating robot pawn. Wait, what are you doing? Nothing. Retrieving data. Sorry, there was a lot of crap here from all the stars I visited. Like what? You do not want to know. But you do not want to know. Shadow from the past. Yes, I know you from Victor's spoils. You come to laugh at me? A wretch who chose to lose Lycinia and her sister rather than accept your help. Fool who ended up relying upon the other charity nonetheless. Absolutely not, my dude. Perhaps I deserve your derision. My compatriots surely scored my failed conviction. I've shamed my people and brought dishonor upon my nation. No better than a kept beast. Pride sold for a bowl of feed. My soul, nay, that you shall not have. I've refused your honey offers of a new home. This land is where I belong, and this is where I shall remain. Bleep. You demonstrate opposition to the contingent's overtures. On what basis do you refuse this cooperation? The data suggests the local populace is struggling to produce the bare minimum of sustenance. Have you some secret strategy for survival? Or do your orders compel you to accept your present misfortune? What? Must I be mocked by a Magitech toy now? No, I have no secret strategy, no binding orders. I but comport myself as any true Garlean patriot would. Uncompromising, unbending. Blast it all. Once again, this input is unanticipated. Let us move aside and process what we have heard. Omega stares to 1,000 miles, stare into the distance. Did we have any place to talk? Doesn't look like it. Accessing and analyzing recorded data. Integration complete. I have evaluated this most recent input and made comparisons to our discoveries in Razadhan. Consistent only in their inconsistency, the responses from both contingent member and Imperial citizen were highly irrational. Conversely, any Omicron considering their predicaments would have echoed my assessment exactly. The divergence from self-evident logic is key. Hypothesis. The illogical relationship between would-be saviors and suffering populace is another result of the unpredictable nature of mortal hearts. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Bleep. Any property or ability has inherent advantages and disadvantages. Yet never have I encountered such a unique detriment. It appears that those who share your metaphysical capabilities are prone to complicating simple cognitive processes. An undesirable quality. I will, however, persist in furthering my understanding of the subject. Thanks, Alpha. Query. Prior to formulating our next step, I wish to know, who is this Lycinia the Imperial mentioned? Acknowledged. To summarize, insufficient data on foreign culture resulted in inadvisable and ultimately fatal action. Yeah. So, I guess for reference, when we came here initially, there's a lot of backstory to go through, but you can tell from that one person we talked to, right? The emaciated refugee or whatever the fuck his name was. Actually, I have the event log here. Sorry, one sec. Emaciated refugee. I was right. He's from this country, and this country was in, the capital city was, taken over by what is essentially, mind-controlled people. The people of the country. And it sent the entire country into a spiral. People were held up in their houses until, we came. But what happened was, basically years and years of propaganda about how everyone outside of Garlemald is a magic-using savage who should not be trusted, who warp minds, blah blah blah, came to a head where these desperate people, one of whom, Lycinia, and her sister, who was severely ill, refused our help. And under the pretext of getting everyone away, Lycinia and the people she was caring for basically abandoned their outpost once we found it, after, there was a little bit of back and forth. A couple of them tried to kill one of our party members, basically, to stop us from doing shit. And, they all ran off into the cold, and where there are plenty of beasts roaming around. which ended up in Lycinia and her sister dead in the middle of nowhere, out on the ice fields. Like a monument to the effect of the propaganda on them. They would not accept help from anyone wielding magic, and it literally killed them. I witnessed such self-destructive behavior during the course of our planetary conquests. Overwhelmed enemy forces would voluntarily withdraw into perilous regions, leading to a succession of inevitable losses. Or succession. Tangential data request. I wish to learn about burial customs. The practice has ever seemed nonsensical, but new data suggests it arises from the same source as your cognitive complications. Take me to this Lycinia's burial site. It may aid me in Beep. Beep. Mega? Energy delivery systems compromised. Core temperature critically low. Beep. Warning. Immediate heating required. Request. Apply friction to outer frame. Okay. I mean, there's a fire right near here, y'all. We don't... Like, we could place them a bit closer to something that's legit warm. Bloop. Bloop. Temperature nominal. Energy levels stabilizing. The creators of this model must have experienced impaired cognitive reasoning during the redesign process. Ah, I see. I was constructed by a mortal. Upon our return, I will request additional climate shielding, as well as an accurate temperature sensor array. This will not affect my combat capabilities, but should improve my basic survival rate. Reconfirming sub-destination. In which direction will we find Victor's spoils? Acknowledged. Alpha, you are to remain in close proximity, close enough to envelop me in your feathers. You are permitted to carry me on your back, if you so choose. Please let that be an actual thing. If I get there and Omega is actually riding Alpha, I will be so fucking happy. So yeah, they were holed up in this area here, right? And like, they weren't doing well, but they were surviving. We come here, they basically send me and another party member over to that cave over there, ambush the last of our party members that was helping them, and then they all run out, and Lycinia and her sister basically do a big loop around to, I think it's just above my head there, where both of them bled to death because of, like, wounds sustained by wild animals. Oh. Oh. A deceptively deep snowdrift almost defeated me, but we have successfully arrived at the location you indicated. Bleep. Caution advised. Yes, I saw them. An unknown individual appears to be investigating the object of my interest. You're OSC's champion, aren't you? Aldine Fellspark. Oh boy. Oh, I never introduced myself, did I? I am Manius, soldier of the 1st Legion and comrade of yours. Perhaps you remember me from Tetrium? Or Tertium, sorry. We spoke about collecting ceruleum and again later on after Lord Quintus had passed. The one that was, yeah. I wasn't 100% sure if they just reused the model or whatnot. Manius, explanation requested. What is the reason for your presence here? That must be the tiniest Magitech weapon Oh no, it's just an oddly shaped communicator, isn't it? In any case, I have nothing worthy to report. The sisters who used to live here in my sector were buried here, so I thought I'd come pay my respects. Alfino and Alizé told me the story, complete with profuse apologies, though they were adamant that no amount of remorse could erase the tragedy of what came to pass. Not that my fellow soldiers and I are in any place to judge. We were manipulated, fooled into starting an insurrection which led to countless deaths among our own countrymen. Objection. The casualties incurred through your infighting are distinct from those caused by the Ilsabard contingent. To restate, you are justified in seeking restitution from the contingent for causing the deaths of Lycinia and her sister. Retaliation for damages sustained is also a logical progression. Okay. I can deduce 2 reasons why you do not initiate hostilities with Aldine and his allies. 1. You judge your remaining forces too weakened to contend effectively with the contingent. 2. Your emotions are complicating the issue. I'm gonna be honest. A person living under a fascist regime who just got out of it, realizing that he had, like, wasted his fucking life and almost got every one of his comrades killed, probably going through some PTSD at the moment, is probably the worst person to have talking to Omega right now. Tell me, which of these is correct? Well, when you lay it out like that... Afraid my answer isn't like to win me any medals, so... Do you mind keeping this to yourselves? Of course, man. There's the unspoken thought that we're outmatched on the battlefield, certainly. But the real reason I'm not demanding restitution has little to do with weighing the odds. The simple truth is, I'm so caught up with simple survival that I've no strength to spare for past grievances. Same goes for avenging any comrades we've lost, be that my brothers in arms or Lord Quintus himself. Although it seems everyone has an opinion about the manner of his passing. Some say he should have fought until the end, but he abandoned us to the enemy. Others praised him for taking the full burden of responsibility and freeing us to walk our own path. Don't know who's right and who's wrong, but I'm inclined to side with the latter. He gave us a choice of freedom, and that's the choice I made. I could cry and rant and rage, but what would be the point? I'll save my energy for worrying about my next meal, my next task. I need to focus on the ones left behind, making some kind of life for my comrades and me. And if I need to lean on the contingent to do that, then that's what I'll do. Even if their aid comes at a price, I'm willing to pay it. Even amongst your own, there are times when cooperation demands compromise. What matter that they're outsiders? Besides, I think I could grow to like Alphino and Alizé. They've reached out to us with kindness and compassion from the very beginning. Summation. Your desire to survive, even should it mean allying with the contingent, was a feeling you already harbored. That your side had committed worse atrocities was the logic you invented later to justify your reasoning. Blunt but accurate, I suppose. The heart is honest about what it wants, even if the mind takes a while to reconcile the decision. They're getting there. Well, this has been oddly cathartic, but I must return to my duties. There are wild beasts to cull, watch fires to lit, supplies to transport. Even without an emperor, there's no rest for an imperial. Be well and stay safe. Upon review of recent input, I have arrived at an unexpected conclusion. I have been formulating my assessments on the premise that it was man who commanded the strength of his heart, but the data suggests the opposite is true. The surge of spirit, of feelings, of emotions can entangle your thoughts to such a degree that even control of your own behavior is compromised. It seems a most counterproductive specification. This also explains why my interactions with mortal subjects have produced more confusion than clarification. It presents a formidable barrier to understanding. My earlier hypothesis has been borne out. The suboptimal operation being conducted here is the result of emotionally compromised reasoning. I am ready to progress to my final and third and final query. I would learn more about those referred to as ancients. It is clear that this group was a crucial factor of the final days, but the information contained in the report was insufficient to form an overview. The Loporrits are creations of the ancients, and are said to maintain repositories of their knowledge. By my calculations, the base of these moon dwellers will provide the best source of additional data. Teleport us to their burrow, Aldine, preferably before my battery freezes over. Oh, we're just... okay, yep, we're going. Wait, why are we here? Why aren't we going to the Watcher? Isn't that a more... Oh, I suppose that's where we'll end it, I think. Bleep. Your teleportation spell was successful. We appear to have arrived at the location described as Bestway's Burrow. An inspection of the technology in use here would give me detailed insight into the ancients and their civilization. This body, however, lacks my previous frame's advanced observational functionality. I will require external assistance. No, it can't be. It is you! Oh, Aldine, I've missed you so. What's this you brought with you? This soft, feathery vision. We've been outfluffed. Pack up the moon, it's all over. Why bother with burrow-building bunnies when you could walk around with... fuck. Walk around with this adorable apid engineer. Just bake me into a pie and be done with it. Inspect our inventions. Wait, so you're not done with us? No! Ha! I wasn't truly worried, of course. I certainly wasn't about to roll myself in dough and dive into Cooking Way's new oven. Ahem. If a technical breakdown is what you need, then I am your Loporrit. As the resident atmospheric regulation expert, I can field any question or query you might care to pose. Beep. Acceptable. I will employ this being to guide me around the facilities. Your presence is not mandatory. Even locked within my current chassis, I am still an autonomous construct that has endured hundreds of life cycles. I am capable of completing this simple objective alone. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, they do that off screen and then come back. Objective complete. Was tour helpful? Affirmative. I observed a representative cross-section of the Loporrit's engineering capabilities. My guide required more time to confirm the answer to certain questions, but overall, we made efficient progress. Conclusion. Extrapolating from the fraction of technology on display, the full spectrum of the Ancients' advancements was, at minimum, equivalent to a level 4 civilization, a fact which demands further investigation. Despite establishing a near-ideal society, these beings nevertheless harbored a weakness which invited self-destruction. In studying them, I stand to gain a greater understanding of Sir's anomalous decision. Growingway informed me that another type of ancient-made entity exists upon this satellite, the one they called the Watcher. I would speak to him. Then conserve your ether. We will ride this Argos to our destination, as you have suggested. Sorry, did I say Argos? I meant my horse. Well, I meant the Titan horse. Although I guess summoning Argos would make it like, yeah. Having Argos is probably a point of conversation as well. Impedance detected. The creature identified as Argos refuses to acknowledge our presence. Hypothesis. Upon our arrival, Growingway expressed concern that he had been out-fluffed. This suggests the existence of a fluff-based hierarchy. My station in such a system would be predictably low, but Argos is adamant in ignoring even Alpha. Its fluffiness level is impossible to gauge. Argos turns to you with an impassive gaze. It seems you will need to intervene. Just think of them as luggage. Argos gives an exasperated snort before motioning to his back. It seems you have permission to climb aboard. Blue, you have secured the creature's permission? Curious. You must have special standing in the fluffiness hierarchy. I have allowed myself to become distracted. Let us continue on to the Watcher at once. Oh, we're on the moon, by the way. Just in case that wasn't clear. The Watcher located. An estimate of this being's height explains the inconvenient scale of Beastway's Barrow. I was bemused by the arrival of these small visitors, but I see they are companions of yours. What a rare thing for my abode to be thus crowded. How may I be of service to you? Hello, Watcher. My purpose here is to learn more about the Ancients. I would know of their deeds, their philosophies, the very nature of their hearts. I would understand why the final days was visited upon my home star. A worthy endeavor, but there is another better suited to assisting you with that task. Perhaps you might favor us with a tale or two of the Ancients you met during your travels, Aldine? My fragmented memories would be a pale substitute indeed for the clarity of your more recent experiences. I can't remember if the Watcher is canonically someone. They seemed more like an amalgam or some shade of a vague recollection. I don't remember if there's someone in particular. Yes, I can envision every detail. Your meeting with Vinar and Emet-Selk and Hythlodaeus. The sorrow and determination of Hermes. I am a creation of Hydaelyn, and as such, I believe the age of the ancients would fade and be forgotten. Yet, knowing that their memory lives so vividly within you, it brings me great joy. I pray you keep them close to your heart. At the time of your journey to the past, the one whose essence I embodied, would have been a scholar at Oneida. A shame. Had you reason to go there, perhaps you might have met. At the time of your journey to the past, the one whose essence I embody would have been a scholar at Oneida. Huh. Okay, so we couldn't possibly meet them in Elpis. Or, specifically, the Watcher is someone that was not present at Elpis, which leaves the list fairly long. A scholar at Oneida. As a man of learning, he was firm friends with Vinar. They spent long hours trading theories or debating the laws of the universe. I remember joining her faction as the final days bore down upon us. Yet of the events surrounding that tragedy, I recall precious little. Hydaelyn wished for the people of your age to decide their own path. Thus I suspect my recollection was limited by design. Yet even she could not cut away one persistent memory. I feel most distinctly his sadness at what was to come to pass. That in becoming Hydaelyn's heart, Vinar would forever stand apart from the people she so loved. If she were so resolved in her convictions, then he, too, would share her sleepless vigil over the future yet to unfold. Thus was the vow he made to Vinar as her transformation took hold. His fervent wish must have reached her in some fashion. Although his life was drained away by the summoning, he was reborn with new form and new purpose when I awoke as the Watcher of the Moon. So you are someone who sacrificed themselves to create Hydaelyn. I'm assuming that probably rules out, Azem, but... And you heard, Aldine. You felt, you thought, and in seizing the future for yourselves have you brought full circle the saga which Vinar began. What you accomplished was no divine miracle. It was but the beacon of hope, passed down from one generation to the next. A succession of wishes and prayers reshaping the star into the world we knew you deserved. You have our deepest gratitude. I thank you not only as myself, but as the man I once was, and on behalf of those who devoted themselves to Vinar's vision. Boop. Boop. I understand the facts of your story, Aldine, but not how you have chosen to process them. On what grounds do you speak of Vinar with such fondness? By sundering the world, she ultimately guided your kind to victory, yet in doing so caused irreparable damage to its individual members. The full scale of that act is beyond calculation. It is evident, however, that it resulted in a protracted period of suboptimal existence for Emet-Selch and his brethren. Query: if the survival of your kind is the deciding factor in your evaluation, then should you not also admire Hermes and his decision to subject man to a trial, forcing you to change or perish, as was the fate of countless civilizations before you? From my perspective, his determination was similar to that of the Omicron's ancestors. those who first began trading flesh for machine, so that our people might stand against the onslaught of aggression from other races. It was an unprecedented attempt, accompanied by much failure and sacrifice. Their early experiments were crude, primitive. Had they not made those first advances, however, they would have remained vulnerable to our environment. The violence would have utterly consumed us. And what of Emmett Selk himself? Judging by your retelling, he was a benevolent ally saddled with tragic fate. Yet I remember the years when my instruments fed me data from events across the entire star. During that time, I witnessed his Asians engineer multiple instances of cataclysmic strife. These calamities, as you know them, were responsible for planet-wide destruction. A man whose endgame relied upon the extinction of all modern mortals must, by definition, be your worst enemy. I require an answer. As a being of heart and soul, how do you classify each of these pivotal figures? From your perspective, which of them was most justified in their actions? Whoa! Okay. Oh, God. Okay. Alright. Is this time for hot takes about this? Like, to a degree, they were all justified in their own way. I will be honest, though, I think Emmett Selk is the least justified. Yeah, and this is gonna be hard to justify, but I'm gonna try and talk about this. So, I would say Emmett Selk is the least justified. He's seeking to put the worlds back together. Undoubtedly. And I understand that. I cannot, and much as we basically said at the time, God, I haven't actually, talked about this at all. To great length, but I'll see if I can abridge it, because otherwise I'll ramble. I think Emmett Selk, whilst understandable, is the least justified. Because if I'm to evaluate this, I need to think of the alternative, right? The thing they're trying to prevent. And Emmett Selk isn't trying to prevent harm or anything. He's trying to reinstate the world to the way it was and causes harm. All three of these people cause harm a lot. Undoubtedly. Emmett is unique for me in that if things stayed as they are, they wouldn't have necessarily been bad. He was doing it for the wishes of his people, but even a lot of his people did not agree, thus the summoning of Hydaelyn. Now that doesn't mean that obviously people wouldn't have wanted to do it, because otherwise Zodiac wouldn't have been summoned. This is known. But given that, by what right does he do all that? A bit over half the star would have wanted it? Emmett likes to trumpet about the fact that the people of, Hydaelyn, the people of the Reflections wouldn't sacrifice half the population to save the other. But once Hydaelyn had, or once things had progressed, or once things are in the state after Hydaelyn was summoned, that reasoning kind of doesn't follow, because none of the it's unclear whether the Ancients wanted... Well, no, because I swear there was some argument or disagreement about how to, like, deal with the lives of those who weren't the Ancients. Because I remember fucking Elidibus touching on that there was a disagreement, but it couldn't be rectified. And in that sense, okay, I don't want to ramble, but that's one of the reasons I think Emmett is the least justified. I get it, but motherfucker, you could have left everything alone. Nothing was going to ruin the star. Well, the final days would have come back maybe eventually. But, and I guess I say this not having a bit of knowledge that Emmett doesn't. And a judgment he would disagree with. The Ancients can't deal with the fucking final days. They fucking failed. That's the key thing. Emmett was wrong about people being unwilling to sacrifice themselves. He just never knew about it. The future where Black Rose ruined the world, everyone gave their lives to send Graha back for another chance. Right, I'm trying to abridge it somewhat, so I'm skipping some details, right? There is absolutely that. Like, people who could not benefit, absolutely could not benefit from the sacrifice, absolutely did so. Under circumstances that were probably a bit worse than the final days, but that's getting into the weeds a bit. But yeah, that's my reasoning, is Emmett had the least reason to act the way he did, and even if I think there were good ends ahead, I think that his assessment of that reason, or the reasoning, is incredibly flawed. Now, Hermes, I think, isn't that much far above from Emmett, but I will note that the Ancients' attitude towards things that were not them, and their attitude towards, like, unchangeably existing, is a massive fucking flaw, and one of the reasons that they were probably inevitably going to perish along with all the other... Well, that I feel they would have perished along with everyone else with the final days. Hermes is like the one person we see in Elpis that seems to think... to give thought to what they are doing as beings who can create others. And whilst he did not do that because of that, or to show that the Ancients weren't ready, his reasoning is basically, well, we should be subject to the same thing. And whilst I think that's a bit much, he's not actively, and maliciously killing entire planets of people for that. He is literally saying, if we are to survive, he's not saying that. That's kind of an extrapolation I take from, the narrative. But it is kind of his point, is if we are going to frivolously throw away life, why shouldn't we be subject to the same thing? It might be sophistry to some degree, but that does have a point. Anyway, I think, Hermes is, again, barely above Emmett. Vanar, I think, is the most justified, undoubtedly. Now, some of this is complicated by the fact that Vanar knows what's going to happen. And, I mean, she did it anyway. But she is taking a chance by sundering the star and having humanity put to the test, as they were. I would argue better equipped to actually deal with the final days. But I think that was actually unknown to her at the time. I'd have to go back through those conversations. But she probably caused the most, like, suffering out of the three. But I think there are miles more justifications for Vinar doing what she did than either of the other two. And I don't know how much of that, my opinion about that, is that I have the meta-knowledge as a player that, like, things may go right and things go in our favor because of that, specifically. I don't know if I'm, like, unconsciously weighing her decision to do that higher than the others because of that, but I will note that it was in service to a goal akin to what happened that Vinar does what she does. Like, that was the reason. She needed the Ancients to stop what they were fucking doing, and she needed to set the course of events that would end up with us going back to Elpis, blah blah blah. Like, actually, no. The entire time loop just makes it justified. I think, like, that just completely clinches it. Which, again, is a bit unfair, but even if I was to remove the time loop, maybe she doesn't know that it's actually a solid loop like that. Maybe different people come to meet her than she experienced in the past. And she just knows, oh, you're the ones in this timeline, whatever. If you take the explicit hard time loop out of it, I still think Vinar is the most justified. Again, because she is trying to put humanity into a position that it can survive. Hermes was like holding the test that would do this, but I think testing in the way he did is obviously, like, less justified. And then Emmett is like, nah, fuck this entire thing. So, yeah, I guess I would have to say Vinar. I think I understand. You seek a definitive answer. Yet based on our experiences, Aldine and I might develop very different opinions. In the same fashion, you are free to form your own thoughts on the matter. Do not be so swift to consider them without merit. I do not have my own thoughts on the matter. I assess each situation with the same logic pathways available to every Omicron. Even if 1,000 Omicrons were asked to analyze the same event, they would all return the same result, regardless of individual experience. There is no strength to be found in fractured reasoning. Nonetheless, I find your input valuable, recording data alongside interview results. Of those choices, honestly, I think, like, none of them were justified, and they were all justified in their own way. Probably have, like, the most strongest, like, I don't know, objective arguments. Like, if you want to get into who is the most justified, that's obviously where it becomes very, very, it probably divides the most. But I feel like if you were to say all of them were, I think most people would be like, okay. Or none of them were, it's like, yeah, right, I see where you're coming from. Like, I feel like those are, like, I feel those are actually really compelling without even with the presence of the multiple choice, but... This concludes my investigation into the incomplete elements of the final day's report. I will reanalyze the accumulated information and examine the factors which led to Sir's incomprehensible decision. Please, let us return to Thormazine. Like, I kind of saw that the game was kind of heading in a direction where it was like, oh, we're going to be asking some big questions here, but I didn't think it was going to ask the big question. God damn. Aldine! Wasn't sure you'd be back in time. In time? Ah, there you are, right at the last moment. Your journey with Omega was properly educational, I hope. We planned to ask all about it, and that mystery transmission besides, but I'm afraid something urgent has come up. Seems one of the Ironworks associates has found up a job elsewhere, and Jesse needs Wedge and me to rush in and lend a hand. There's an airship already waiting for us out in the harbour, in fact. Do you think you could escort us over there and talk as we walk? Beep. Acceptable. I am fully capable of speech during ambulation. I figured you might be. Right, let's get a move on then. Fuck. So, you've cleared up all those points of confusion then? Oh, this is... huh. I had mistakenly classified your intangible heart as an ability of some kind. An uncanny power that Omicrons could neither learn nor even measure. Even now, its full nature yet eludes my comprehension. Based upon our investigations, however, I have decided to alter my definition. A phenomenon which influences one's interpretation of reality. That is as close to an answer as I have found. Accordingly, Sir's actions upon meeting Meteon strongly indicate the presence of a heart. Sir did not follow routine logic, but formulated an independent assessment based upon the reality it perceived. It felt that the best course for the Omicrons was to cease their expansion and terminate all functions. Every time. This fucking music. Well, here's our ship. Aye, we need to be going. But first, I'll hold you to your bargain, Omega. It's time you told us what was in the transmission from the flight logs. Beep. Acknowledged. I will uphold the terms of our agreement. The recording salvaged from the Ragnarok was a simple one. The message is so basic, in fact, that the time spent listening to it may result in a net loss of value. Shall I continue? Now you're just cheesing. Tell us the message already. Acknowledged. Converting dialect... Fuck. Coding to local language. To whomever receives this message out there in the vast reaches of the cosmos. Someone, I hope, who looks up at the stars with the same wistful gaze as mine. To you I say, forge ahead. May all our tomorrows be blessed with joy. Oh god, it's happening again, isn't it? This message had no designated recipient. It lacks purpose. The concept of joy is overly abstract. The vocal supplication to manifest said joy is unrealistic in its optimism. Yet, based upon their expressions, my assessment of the transmission's value conflicts with its apparent impact. And still, I fail to understand you, sir. Your heart still confuses me. Was termination of everything the correct course? How did you arrive at this conclusion? It defies all my attempts at reasoning. But I was designed to evolve. If I continue to learn, the probability that I will eventually comprehend this phenomenon is greater than 0. So I will put the dilemma of your decision aside for now. And continue my existence upon this distant star. As I dwell among these many life forms, so will I continue to piece together the complete shape of their mortal hearts. I must document their progress. Your contribution to my education is appreciated, Aldine. Indeed, I have amassed a satisfying quantity of valuable data. Now that our negotiated business is complete, however, Alpha and I will return to traveling the world. Drawing on recent experience, I am confident we can expand the radius of our ventures by significant margins. We need not limit ourselves to Eorzea. I am now familiar with Sharlayan and Razatar, and would also like to revisit the freezing climes of Garlib Bloop. I neglected to instruct Biggs and Wedge to upgrade my climate shielding. Blip. I will reroute my quest to Deputy President Jesse. Engaging ambulation and parting salutations. Farewell, Aldine. Alpha gives a vigorous shake and draws forth a scrap of paper from under his wing. Huh? Seems he wants you to have it. Perhaps this is his way of thanking you? Son of a bitch. Swiftly, Alpha. The road is long and we have barely begun our journey. That's a good present. Should I keep going, or... Honestly, my voice is kind of like, like a bit raw after all of that, because that was just nothing but talking. And all I've got lined up for Samurai is nothing but talking. So, I might actually call it here. Don't know if I'm going to stream tomorrow. I usually like to keep Thursday as a buffer for the Friday night that I usually have. So I'm I don't know. I may feel like I want to play Samurai or something. Who knows? But yeah, I think I'm good for now. I think. Yeah. God, fuck. Oh, for fuck, no. Motherfucker, don't do that. The last action you took was the G pose. Fuck. Oh, fuck you then. I was gonna make you look pretty, but you can just stand there then, idiot. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do, like... Oh, I guess it would just be... No, I kind of want to play something, and that's not going to be, I'm probably not going to be talking, and Samurai's not there, Paladin's probably not a good idea at this time of night, so... Yeah, I think I might call it here for now. Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure what I'll be doing tomorrow night. Maybe something, I don't know. Friday night will very likely be Elden Ring. Made some decent progress in the plateau, but now I'm like forced to fight a boss if I want to get further into the capital, so I'm sure that'll be fun. And then on the weekend, more Devil May Cry. Saturday at this stage is tentative, just because I'm not sure if some other plans are going to happen. It's probably like a 50-50, honestly. We'll see what happens. If it doesn't end up happening, I'm going to be up at the time I'm going to stream anyway, so yeah, I'll do that anyway. But yeah, I want to get back to Devil May Cry, mostly because I also figured out that fucking a game I really want to start playing on the stream is like 2 weeks away. Now, granted, it is releasing on PC, and I know the last one that released of this game had some issues. So I'm probably going to give it, like, a good... Maybe even just, like, the week, or a week and a bit, to see if there's any real problems on PC. But yeah, I want to burn through some Devil May Cry before that happens. So hopefully I don't fucking forget. I think that's it. Probably see you all on Friday. So thank you very much for watching live or on the VODs. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I hope to see you all next time.